Number 6 is audit your finances. This is one of the simplest things that you can do to find some extra money without really changing your spending habits, but most people still don't do this, which is absolutely crazy to me. So what I want you to do, pull out a piece of paper, get a Google sheet, get an Excel sheet, and now we're going to take a look at your income and your expenses. So now, you take this piece of paper, you take this Google sheet, take this Excel sheet, and what you're going to do on the top is first write down how much money you made last month and all the different sources of your income. Take out your pay stubs, take a look at your bank statements. You want to find all the different sources of your income and list them out right here, how much money you made last month. Then below that, we're going to put the expenses. And you're going to do the same thing. This is going to be a little tedious, especially the first time we do this. It's going to take a couple of hours the first couple of times you do this, but then it's going to get a whole lot easier. Get your credit card statement, your debit card statement, your bank statements. Now you're going to write down all of your expenses, every single one, line by line, where every penny went. You got to get down to the pennies. You want to get nitty and gritty here because the reason why is now you're going to see, number one, where is all of your money going? Ideally, you're going to categorize this by category. So your restaurants, your groceries, your housing expenses. But then you're also going to see, number 2, how much money you're spending in each place. And then 3, you're going to find out that you're spending money in places where you're not actually getting any value. You might still have subscriptions that you stopped using 4 months ago. And then you're also going to see those utilities and bills that have been racking up their monthly fees, their costs, without you even knowing it. You'll see that the cable bill that you have is now 33% more than what you originally thought you were paying. You'll see that your internet bill is now 2 times more than what you originally signed up for. And this is where now what I want you to do is be a little strategic and call up these utility companies and ask them to lower their bill. Because guess what? They don't want to lose you as a good paying customer when you could go to a competitor and you get a better deal. So if you've been paying your bills on time, you call them up and you say, hey, I was wondering why my bill is so expensive. Here's the key though. You gotta be nice. These customer service reps are getting yelled at and cussed out all day and night long. So if you're nice to them, they'll be nice to your wallet. Ask them, why is your bill so high? Nicely. They'll give you whatever explanation they have. And you say, you know, I've been looking around and I would love to stay with you, but I see that this company is charging a whole lot less. Is there anything that you can do? And guess what? Most of the time, they'll be willing to reduce the bill. And when they reduce the bill, here's what I want you to say. Oh, that was very nice of you to reduce the bill, but is there anything else that you can do? You never accept the first price they give you. This is negotiation 101. I don't care how much of a discount they give you, you don't accept that. Once they try to negotiate against themselves, this is where you now offer a price that's lower than what they asked for and see if you can bring this down a little bit more. These are some simple tricks that you can do, but you can only do this if you're looking at your incomes and expenses. That way now you can keep more money in your pocket without changing a thing about how you spend your money. Number 7 is downsize smartly. The first thing that people do when they want to save some extra money is to look to see where they can cut back on some of their expenses. And the first place that people cut back, especially if you look on the internet, is their Starbucks. They say, I'm spending $5 a day at Starbucks, which is $150 a month, assuming that there's 30 days in the month. If I go there every day and I spend $5, I'm spending $150 on Starbucks, and I could save that $150 if I just made my coffee at home. But what I want you to do is take a top-down approach, because Starbucks is one of the smallest purchases you might be making over the day. Let's take a look now on the opposite side, some of the biggest purchases, because that might give you a little bit more ability to cut back. The number 1 largest expense that people have besides taxes, obviously there are ways for you to reduce your taxes, but I'm going to avoid that for this video because that can get a little bit complicated, but I would recommend you look at that. But the largest expense for the average person around the world is your housing. Is there a way for you to downsize your housing costs? Move into a smaller home. Move into a smaller apartment, move into a slightly cheaper apartment. I know that can be a painful concept to understand, but it's temporary. That way you can save some more money. Because if you can save, say, $500 a month to $1,000 a month, depending on where you live, that's an additional $500 to $1,000 every single month, which is more than how much you'd save by never drinking at Starbucks again. The second largest expense is none other than your car. Now, the average new car payment in America today is more than $700 a month, but let's assume that your car payment is only $500 a month, and you might not think that it's that big of a deal, but what if now, instead of you taking the $8,000 to put it as a down payment on your car, you take the $8,000 and you buy an $8,000 car. If you take the $8,000 as a down payment and you buy an $8,000 car, now you can save $500 a month. Now sure, you're not driving a BMW, you're not driving a brand new car, but you get to save this $500 a month, which again is many multiples more than what you would save if you never drank at Starbucks again. Now sure, there's a time and place to drink at Starbucks. If you have credit card debt, if you don't have any savings, you don't want to be doing this either. But I also want you to understand where you can get some of the biggest wins. Because the two biggest expenses for the average American are your housing costs and your car payment. And if you can reduce these, well, this can add a much more significant amount of money into your bank account every single month, which you can save, invest, and build your wealth. Number 8 is stop paying service fees. I gave this story on YouTube a little while ago, but I still think about it today because I got into a Lyft a little while ago and my Lyft driver was telling me about how she lives in a mobile home park and how she orders Grubhub or DoorDash pretty much every single day. And it was such a crazy concept to me because I refuse. I mean, if I don't have to, I'm not going to buy something off of DoorDash or Grubhub because you got to pay so many service fees. I mean, sure, in a certain situation, it is worth it. But that is not my daily go-to thing because now you got to pay for the service fee, you got to pay for the delivery fee, and you got to pay for the tip on top of your food. I mean, these fees add up like an additional 25% on your order. And if you're talking about now, how do I save $10,000? How do I save my first couple of $1,000s? You should not be paying an additional 25% just to buy your food. It's the same thing with your groceries. If you're buying your groceries with Amazon Fresh or Instacart, if they're delivering the groceries to you, you're paying somebody else. When if you don't have the money, you got to use the time. When you got the money, you can buy back the time. But even then, you want to be smart with how you spend your money. If it's really going to save you some time, then by all means, go about doing it. But you got to understand the cost with some of these things. Number 9 is pay down your credit card debt faster. Now, of course, this is going to seem like such an obvious concept. If I have credit card debt and I can pay it off faster, then obviously I'll have less expenses that I have to pay. Because right now, the average credit card debt in America is charging more than 27% a year. But there are some simple tricks that you can use to help pay down the credit card debt faster. If you are committed to being financially smart and getting out of a bad financial situation, one of the things that you can do is transfer your credit card balance to a 0% APR credit card where you might get 6 to 12 months of 0% APR time. And now you can attack your credit card debt without any interest. That way, if you can pay down your credit card debt 1 year early, that's a guaranteed 27% return on your money. But this only works if you're already committed and you're serious and you're 100% going to work to pay down the credit card debt as fast as possible, because that's a lot of money going just into your banker's pockets that's not giving you any more value today. And number 10 is stop paying late fees. You might have heard me say that it's profitable to keep you poor. Well, let me just give you a couple examples of this. When you don't pay your bills on time, companies are going to charge you a late fee, and while companies and credit card companies have been making billions of dollars a year charging people late fees just for paying your bills a little late. Banks also love it when you spend money you don't have, not just because they get to charge you interest, but because they get to charge you an overdraft fee, because when you spend money out of your bank when you don't have it, they get to slap on an overdraft fee, and this has been making banks billions of dollars a year, and these fees go directly to the bottom line of profits because there's really no cost to the bank. They're not giving you any value. All they're doing is just charging you a fee because you're late. But one of the things that you can do is just take a look at your bills, take a look at your bank account, pay your things on time, and don't buy things you don't have the money for. And if you do that little shift, you can save a lot of money on silly fees that you don't have to pay just because you took a look at your web banking to see how much money you had in your account in the first place. If you enjoyed this clip and you want to continue your financial education journey, I have another video that I think you'll love. All you got to do is click that button right over there. And for those of you who want to stay up to date on the top finance and business news, you can join Market Briefs, my free financial newsletter, by clicking that button below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.